I think one of the challenges you have, and this is a sweeping statement, but I've been a probation officer where I've worked in prisons, and so I am of the view, based on this isn't backed by research, it's observation, is often in the black community, we can be very reactive.
Explain.
Reactive is when there's a problem, now we want to look at it.
Right.
Being proactive is before the problem arises, we want to deal with it. That's why people come.
Normal for us.
Well, this is why people come to me in crisis. You know, I do videos all day long about looking after your well-being or your mental health, which I am not a fan of. But actually, it's when the pain is enough that people then reach.
Yeah.
So the pain has to be sufficient. It has to be sufficiently uncomfortable for action to take place. And so I think that is often something I notice in the black community, that we are reactive.
Worldwide.
Well, like I said, it's anecdotal based on my experience of prison. And even if I think about my career, I noticed I was very proactive. When I knew I was in probation, I could see myself sinking into losing my empathy and rolling my eyes. I was like, no, this job is going to kill me. And I'm not having it. So I proactively did my masters, started my business, got myself out. Proactive. And so that means that you are being preventative.
Yes.
I didn't want my empathy to go. I didn't want to burn out.
No.
And then do something.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that you also need to be mindful of. And actually, the challenge is on you. I'm sorry. When they come to you, how do you then capture your audience with the proactive information to assist people? You know, the challenge is on us, I believe, as pioneers, as mavericks, as wayseers, you know. And so for me, I believe what I do is spiritual. It's had to get spiritual because it's really not what I signed up for.
No.
You know, I had no idea it would take me to this point. No. But actually, you're a voice for the voiceless. And you're articulating issues that people don't even know are going on. They're buried. You know, they're profoundly buried. So, you know, I'm up for helping in any which way. If it means we do videos or we do more of these.
Definitely more conversation. Definitely more conversation, because I like how you deal mostly with grown-ups. But one of the things I like for people to remember is be mindful of how you're talking to the children.
Exactly. And that's why, you know, if I think about my youngest child, it was evident that when her hair wasn't nice, she felt ugly. Yeah. And as a mixed race parent with a darker skinned daughter whose hair wasn't like mine, I acutely knew that if I didn't handle this properly, I was going to mash her up. Yeah. I knew it. I could see it. And even to this day, if she looks at me and says she has a hair, it does something to me. I'm just like, what? How much?
Parent guilt.
It's straight away. And it's curly hair guilt.
Yeah.
Because as I said to somebody, I can't do her hair.
No.
Yeah, I can't do her. Tia's hair, when she was little, it was fine. Wash it, leave in conditioner. Two twists.
Exactly, and that's what it should be for kids. Little children, big loose. Simple. And as she's got older, and she has tried to experiment with it out, and I've gone to packs and just cleared the shelf. You know, I'm just throwing money at the problem. Right, fine, we'll buy a load of product. I don't really know what I'm doing. And then she'll go out. She went to school once, and they called her Afro Jackson 5. School phoned and said, you know, we don't know what's wrong with Tia. She just doesn't see herself. Oh, poor love.
And so her hair's her confidence, right?
Yes. This is why, for me,
it's heart-wrenching.
Words. Just hearing you say the things you've been saying for our listeners, for them to understand that when people are even older, it's still in there. I just think
but you also have to remember, if it's in the elders and it's done to me, so it becomes normalized, then people, you know, can do that without even thinking about it. you know, my mother for various reasons wasn't able, I have a black mother and she wasn't able to do my hair because she wasn't able to do her own. My mother was brought up with white people.
Yeah.
So she wasn't able to handle her own. So I was sent to other black women on my estate who did my hair, which often can, even now if someone pulls my hair, you know, because you ever hear this one? If you winch, they tell you you're nasty. I'm like, how can I be nasty? Yeah. You're so nasty.
Comb.
But I don't understand how I was nasty if it hurts my head. So even now, like, I have a sensitive head. It's like it's not allowed though, right? You know, those experiences.
You can't say it hurts. I think it's because, and I've come to this understanding, again, it's not scientific, but I've come to this understanding just from being on the other side of the styling chair.
Sounds like a doctorate you need to be doing.
It's a long journey, but we'll get there. Just detangling, combing, just sorting people's heads out. People have this expectation that it's going to hurt. So they'll be like, are you actually doing anything? And I'm like, well, yeah, because I've never understood why hair needs to hurt. I really don't. And again, it's because my hair wasn't treated like that. It wasn't treated like that. So therefore, I don't understand why I should treat somebody else like that. So I kind of understand why people think, oh, well, we survived it. Because that's what parents tell me a lot. Oh, we survived it. We're still here and we're fine. And then I think to myself, but are we? Are we really fine? Or does that dysfunction come out as something else? And to me, I think one of the biggest worrying things is if we don't become the generation that says, okay, come on now. We were hurt. It wasn't fun. But we can change. We can change. Then at least we are rewriting the story. We start to rewrite the story because it needs to be rewritten. It's not like having a painful experience. It's not a rite of passage. You can get your hair sorted out without pain. If you treat the person behind the chair with respect, they will treat you with respect. We have to respect each other a lot more in our community, I think. Because there's a belief. And it's not just, it's in a lot of black cultures, because we have listeners in over 22 countries. And it's like, well, but do they even get trained? Like they're supposed to. In every single country, I'm yet to come across a country that doesn't have some sort of certification requirement for hairstylists. A lot of our community will go to people who are not qualified hairdressers because it's cheap. Because mostly it's the price, which I understand.
Yeah, but some people got a side hustle in their house. Let's be clear.
And that's fine. But I think we now know enough to know that side hustles that aren't educating themselves, not necessarily going and getting a piece of paper at the very least. Like if you can't do that, that's fine. But get to understand what hair is. Just get to know what you're dealing with because it affects people. The other side of it is people coming and they're wearing wigs because the hair has gone and there's now nowhere you can't even attach a wig onto this head because you have pulled out all their hair because of your side hustle. You see, I get the side hustle. It does, because I don't know what to do with these people. And then it's like, now you're telling people, like you said, they come to you in crisis. I think I need to send them to you. Go and see Keeley. They come to me and they're like, what can I do? How can I get my hair to grow? And I'm thinking, you're going to have to start take the wig off. But there's no hair. Like, the hair is now in a state. They might not want to wear a headscarf. Not everybody wants to do that. It's just so painful that we are causing these problems. And we are choosing to go to people who make the problem worse because they haven't read a book. They haven't...
You know what? I'm really going to annoy you. I really annoy you. I just think that's why you're so important.
Oh no, I thought you were going to say something else.
No. I think that's why you're so important in terms of what you do. I think you're really important. We need you.
Well, I will do it because I love it. I love it because I just think it's not one person's fault, and it's not like, oh, it's the hairdressers or it's this or it's that. It's all of us as a community. All of us as curly-haired people need to be having these conversations. Hence the podcast. We need to be aware of these things. We need to be aware of the fact that if I put something in your hair today, if I put extensions in your hair today, Yes, you look lovely today. You'll look lovely for the next 6 weeks. The damage of that will show up in 3 months' time. Are you going to remember that it was me? Because in a 3-month period, how many different hairdressers have you gone to?
You know what? I'm sitting here and I'm almost so... I'm feeling a guilt coming up over me.
Why?
About my daughter who goes from extension to extensions and she has them really long. And I feel just immense guilt about...
But do you see why I needed you? Do you see why I need you? Like, this is why this podcast needed you. And like, Nana's not here today, but she's like, we need a therapist on this show.
Yeah, but for me, it's, I think one of the things with myself is I'm going to be open about things that most people won't be. Yeah. I could sit here and be like, okay, cool. Yeah. Like I'm perfect. No, it's not.
None of us
are. But the struggle, the struggle is real. The struggle to accept yourself. Yeah. It's not easy. I mean, just think about how we met at the door and you're like, oh, I can say that to you. It's cool, you're a therapist.
Yeah, because that's kind of, she will understand where I'm coming from and I won't have to explain my issues to her because she gets that people have issues.
But can you imagine?
And I know people have hair issues.
No, but you're an adult and you can say that to me because I'm a therapist.
Yeah.
Most people, which suggests that you can't say that to most people.
No.
Because you're concerned about what they may think about you.
And I just think it's the pushback.
Call it what you will.
Yeah.
You're still concerned that if you say your truth, what will come back at you will not be favourable. And that's as an adult who is woke, who's doing what you do. And that's the level of pressure we are all under to be incongruent. Yeah? Incongruent is when we're not being real. We don't say what's really going on.
Yeah.
We say something else. And not saying what is true for us is the thing that leads to depression and anxiety because we then become disconnected for our authenticity.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's incredibly complex. It's related to, the decimation of black psyche, to hate self, to loathe self, to the point where if someone doesn't have the curls, sometimes they want you, how can you accept you?
Yeah.
Is really the key.
Yeah.
I grew up wishing I was black, interestingly. Full black, and I tried to straighten my hair and I tried to glue down the sides of my hair because that's what my friends were doing. Should we start again?
Yeah. Go. Just that's interesting.
Yeah, so I grew up in a black area.
Yeah.
And when I was growing up, my mum was becoming very pro-black. So I was a mixed race child in a black area with a mum who is now kind of renouncing the white upbringing she'd had and was very much getting into Afrocentric living, Rasta, reggae, going back to where she came from. Yep, so then here I am, like, with limited access to my dad, limited access to my white side.
Yeah, and clearly not black enough.
Was I not black enough? Well, I did over black.
Right.
I did over black. So over black for me was about trying to be like my black friends, which would mean, I used to blow dry my hair. I used to try and glue down the sides with jam. Do you remember jam? Which was utterly pointless.
Yeah.
And try to be like my black friends in terms of my hairstyles with spritz. Do you remember spritz? Yes. And then trying to curl it under.
Yes.
Trying to blow dry my hair only to go out and there be a slight modicum of heat and it go vroom.
Of course.
Yeah. Which was like a total nightmare. About? You look in the mirror, you're like, I never left home like this.
Yeah.
This was not how I left my house.
Yeah.
And so I kind of battle with myself to be like my black friends. And what was real revolution for me was going to Jamaica, where it was just like You don't have to be, you know, you can still listen to Michael Bolton and pop music and you're black. We don't have a narrow definition.
No.
You can be smart and be black.
Exactly.
You could be professional and be black.
Which is what you'll find a lot in the Caribbean, in Africa. You will find that you can be black and like a lot of different things.
You can be black and be a nerd.
Exactly.
Whereas where I grew up in West London,
you couldn't.
It was like you had a very narrow definition
of blackness.
And if you would sell out or, you know, so it was really refreshing to me to have that experience because it was counter to the limited view of black people that I had growing up in St. Ralph's Estate. Yeah. So I really appreciated that, and that freed me in many ways. And that's when I discovered, as bizarre as it sounds, my hair could go curly because my mother had always treated my hair like it was 100% black hair. Right. So I had Dax, I had Bergamont, and
that would have been very heavy for.
You imagine?
Yeah.
Limp. Well, I never had my hair out. My mum always made sure it was just cane mode and that was it. So I would go to the women on the estate, they'd cane my hair, and it would stay in, like, I never ever had it out. So I was never, so that...
Yeah, it's understandable. But then again, it's like, well, then you're not getting a chance to enjoy and to explore, which again, little children need that.
No, but my mum wasn't interested in that. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have your hair, cane mode, and that's that. So other mixed race girls on my estate who had white mums would be having it out or having it look like that ain't being groomed. What the hell is going on there? And I think that was one of the distinctions with having a black mother. Was that my hair was always groomed.
Yes.
I weren't going out with the one fits like the
I know the ones.
You know. So and I'm not saying that's all.
No, it's just they didn't know. They didn't know. Like, some of them just don't know what to do. They really genuinely don't know the best thing to do for the child's particular hair, because again, it's not one size fits all.
And so that was like one of the experiences that I think was different with myself, because I had a black mum who didn't know how to handle my hair. Which is very, so it just went from chemo to chemo. So I had to I only discovered my curls in like my 20s, like, oh right, it can go curly. Like, because I'd always just drawn it back or tried to make it look like my other black friends. And I think the reason behind that is based on my mum's own history with her hair and being brought up with white people. So it's a very, and now my mum's a Ras.
So she's got locks.
And even that in itself, people think, oh, you go natural, have locks. But actually, that in itself, with the way the hair's twisted and the thinning of their hair, and the heaviness, is also
something you need to think about beforehand.
And that's why, you know, I can see, you know, the revolution is beautiful that's happening with natural hair. But you can see that, as you're making me aware, that it gets hijacked by big companies or pushing light-skinned people with hair, everybody's hair curly.
We're just pushing things that are unachievable for everybody, because products don't give your hair something that your hair doesn't have. I could, with the right products, we can tease your hair, we can style your hair into like a proper little afro. If that's what we wanted to do, we can do that. But that's not realistic. It's not something you can do every single day, and that takes a lot of skill. And it's like, do you really want to be doing that every single hair? And then also, what damage are we causing by doing that? Because you can backcomb Caucasian straight hair into a fluffy afro. You can do that.
I can do that too.
You can backcomb anything and create anything. That's what hairstyling is. Is that healthy for the hair? Because we need to think about hair health, because in 10 years time, in 5 years time, in 2 years time, when you don't want to do that anymore because it's not popping, will you still have hair?
I think hair is a beautiful window into the self. And I think that's what you're getting. Hair is a window into the self. And I think you're alarmed at what you're seeing.
Very.
When the door is opened. And maybe for me, I think you're really privileged that people would trust you with their vulnerability and tell you their stories. And again, I think it's it's your choice, should you decide to take on your mission, is to honor the gift that your mother has given to you, to be able to offer that to so many souls who hate and loathe themselves. And that if you want to do workshops together where I come in,
definitely,
you know, where you start to bring people together.
Yeah, we do.
I hear your big sigh there as if
it's a lot of work, but I'm up for it purely because, like I said, we were looking for someone, like we were looking for psychotherapy, we were looking for counsel, we were looking for a person who helps people to understand that words are powerful, and
but you remember the words that you're getting access to then shape the identity, the self-regard of that individual. That, I think, is maybe what alarms you. You know, the severity of the inner loathing, the profoundness of the self-hatred,
and sometimes the age, the youthfulness of the mouths that are saying this.
Well, if you think of the youthfulness, then as someone who works with the adults, I'm up against 42 years of that. I said it to my clients all the time. I said, don't worry, you know, this is what I'm up against. I'm up against 42 years of indoctrination. You see, which is why I can't watch television. I don't watch that. You guys can't have me watch that because I need to be as out of the system as much as possible in order to help you to prize and love and accept the self that you have been blessed with, because that's all you got. If we are spirits having a human experience and you've been fortunate enough to be placed in the vessel that is your body, we need to help you to accept, love and appreciate the vessel that you have been put into, because we can't work, you can't have a human experience without this body.
That is so true.
Spirit needs a body, and you've been blessed. Look how many people have left this earth who would wish they could have a moment back, even if it would be to say goodbye to their families. And so here you are, hating the vessel that you have been blessed with. This is some spiritual work, my sister. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't even tell everybody this, you know, they be talking about.
No, it's true, I hear you.
But it's very true. And I'm very grateful that your mother was a mother of such love and care and tenderness, because...
With her hair, like with doing the hair, because I think it was her experience.
And so here you are, her daughter, who wants to make a change. You know, and I think you're in a really strong position to do that, and you're using media. You know, you've got fancy equipment. You got your phone there that looked like it been through the walls.
I tell you, this phone. But you know what?
That's the
engineer. We go and then we take it back, and it gets edited, and people then get to hear this. So we try and keep it as raw as possible, just because there's so much out there that has been edited. And I really want to keep it raw.
Before we close, I just want to reiterate how important it is what you are doing, what you are getting access to, because people trust like you. They trust you with the vulnerability, which is exactly what you did to me today when you saw me. You knew you could trust me with your vulnerability. They trust you. That is a gift. And so you are getting access to the inner world, and as you get access and you peer in, you're like, oh my God, what is going on? And then you're seeing it again and again and again, and you're like, this is trauma. People are being traumatized.